You know, it's times like this I'm really glad I never said anything about updating regularly. Sorry about that. Hi everyone. So this week I wanted to focus on something that's a little more personal, for me at least, and I feel like it can kind of relate to a lot of other things that people my age are feeling. For those of you that don't know, I am towards the end of my high school career. I'm going to be a senior next year, which is crazy to think about. And I find myself asking a lot of different questions about what I want to go to college for, what do I want as a career when I'm finished with school. And so this is kind of going to be a long video, I'm sorry, but I have 5 questions that I'm kind of going to try to break the video up with. The first question I have is, what am I doing with my life? I find myself asking this a lot, and I know my friends ask this too, because we've had some discussion about it, but we haven't really narrowed down why we're feeling this way and what exactly we want to do. I personally find myself answering this question with things like, oh, I want to be a musical performer of some sort, or I want to do something that you can't really go to college for, which doesn't really fit, because my parents are they expect me to go to college and they expect me to get a degree in something that is a stable field, whereas music isn't really a stable field. In addition to what am I doing with my life, I always ask right after that, what do I want to be? Which, like I said, is I want to be some sort of musician, but with the way that my parents are, with what's expected of me, it doesn't really fit. So I guess I always tell them, like, oh, I want to do something in animation or something that I can go to a university and get an actual career for, or get an actual degree for. I also find myself asking, am I wasting my life doing things like music lessons or going out somewhere to concerts or whatever, when I could be at home doing homework or studying or doing something educational, instead of going out and doing these things? And I know that's kind of a stupid question, because I'm still a teenager and I still want to have fun and I still want to go out with my friends and everything, but I always have this little voice in the back of my mind that is saying, like, oh, you shouldn't be here right now, you should be doing this instead, and you're not going to get into a good college if you don't do this, which causes a lot of stress, I feel like. And it's just getting that voice to kind of just stop so I can enjoy the time that I do have with my friends or doing something that I really love. Next question is, am I too ambitious for my own good? Are these dreams that I have of being a musician or being an author or whatever it is that too difficult to reach, and is it even worth it? And I know careers like that aren't stable, and a lot of parents are kind of iffy about letting their kids pursue stuff like that, just because it's not a stable career. It's based largely off of what your audience thinks, how many records or how many books you sell, and it's all kind of up in the air. And I know most parents at least want their kids to have a stable career that they don't have to worry. And the last question is, how does money factor in? How am I going to be able to pursue the things that I love and being able to have a career that I really can get into without breaking the bank, while still having the money to support myself? And I feel like that's a really big question, at least here in America. I don't know how it is anywhere else, because we are often so focused on how much money we make that we don't really see what it's doing to us as people, I guess. And I think that just causes a lot of stress, especially with my generation being told, oh, you have to have this sort of career, and this is what's going to make you successful, and this is what is going to keep you employed, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, but at the same time, is it gonna really make that person happy, or is it just gonna cause a bunch of stress that they're not gonna want? And that's another thing. What's the difference between happiness and success? Because obviously everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to make something of their lives. But at the same time, is that worth sacrificing personal time with family and friends and being able to take a breath and relax? I'd rather have happiness than success, personally. But I feel like they kind of go hand in hand for some people, because I've heard people say like, oh, I can never really be happy unless I'm successful. Like, there's something I said earlier about parents wanting the best for their kids, even if that's not what the kid wants. So how does, let's just say, how does what I want different from what my parents want? Because my parents obviously want me to go to college, they want me to get a degree and have a good career and have a family of my own someday, which is understandable. But at the same time, maybe that's not what I want, because I can't see myself being a parent. I can't see myself going to college for the next 6 years of my life. I personally see myself right out of high school taking at least a year off and going to do something. Obviously, I would still have a job and I would, for the most part, be taking care of myself, but I don't see myself going straight to college after I finish high school. I think part of that is because I feel really ill-prepared to go to college. Like, I'm in some college courses right now, and yeah, I'm doing okay, but at the same time, I don't think I'm ready to take on a full college workload. So I feel really ill-prepared, and I'm kind of at this in-between where I want to be independent, and I want to live by myself and be able to do these things. And I probably could if I had enough money, but I don't, because living by yourself can be expensive. But at the same time, I'm not ready to sign my life away to a college for the next however many years. The thing I want to talk about is abilities versus interests. Because I feel like a lot of us have these certain abilities, like maybe you're a good writer or you're a good athlete or something along those lines, but your interest is something completely different. Like, you can be a really good athlete, but you may have more of an interest in music or technology, and you're just doing the athlete thing because you're good at it. And maybe you just don't have a lot of skill in whatever else it is you want to do. Maybe you just don't have a lot of experience and skills in what you want to do. So, and I often find myself that way because I really love music, but I know that I'm not the best singer in the world. I don't have a great voice, but I can play instruments, and that's what I really love to do. And I do like singing, but I can't see myself as a lead singer of a band. I could see myself as a bassist, or I could see myself as a flute in a symphony orchestra, but I could never see myself as the front person of a whole band. I have abilities in writing and that kind of stuff, and a little bit in technology and that kind of stuff, but I don't want a career as a tech support person or some sort of graphic designer. I'm not really all that interested in it. Honestly, not all that interested in it, even though I know that I'd probably be okay at it and I could probably get a job out of it, but it just doesn't interest me that much. The next thing I want to talk about is natural skill versus skills that we learn over time. And I think there's a big difference between these, because a lot of us may have natural skills, like maybe we're built to be a fast runner, or we're born with a very nice voice for singing. Versus the learned skills, whereas you can work up and you can become a great athlete, or you can take singing lessons and improve vocal techniques and all of that. Even with all of that, I still find myself comparing my learned skills to other people's natural skills, which I think is really obvious and happens a lot in high school, because you're so worried about what other people think of you that you're constantly comparing yourself to them. Like, at least this is what it is for me. I know a lot of my peers have problems with this, as people are older than me that have had these sort of problems, and it's just something that almost everybody goes through. I am working on not doing that anymore, because I don't want to compare myself to this other person, because I am not this other person. I have my own set of skills, whether they're natural or learned, that I can work with. And everybody else has that too. Even though you don't see it, you do have a set of skills that you are born with, and you have even more that you've learned over time, and you can make something out of that. Maybe you just don't know what that is yet. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. Feel free to leave comments down below about what you're worried about for your future, if you're like around my age or high school, middle school, and that's what you're thinking about. And if you're older, then if you can relate to some of the stuff that I'm saying, then that's great. And I encourage you to share your stories so that the people younger watching can have a little bit of hope and hopefully some advice that'll help them later on. And that's all I've got for this week. Bye.